Hello, welcome back. I'm Joe.
And TJ.
And we are the Schoolhouse 302, and this is our hashtag Read This series where we bring to you great books that we've read, curated, that support our topic of the month, which this month we are totally focused on courage. And courage as a leader, we often think that should look like something and be something, but we presented a model that really, we think, put it in a different direction. So we're real excited to bring you our first book. TJ, why don't you introduce it?
Before I introduce the first book, Joe, you mind if I tell you something?
I don't mind at all.
So I was thinking about our model, and a couple of people who read the model online and came to me with some big fears, some big stuff they were scared of. And I've been there before, where just fearful of things and needing the courage to move forward. And I have to say that we broke things down into small steps, small parts, smaller things that are less fearful, and we overcame them. And so we looked at this as just this not massive thing that to be afraid of.
Absolutely.
And it was a big win for the people I was talking to, and I felt really good, and I felt the model was working, and it's worked for me, and so I just kind of wanted to share that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there's Lao Tzu, the great philosopher. There's a great quote by him that says, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." And so often when we're at the bottom of the mountain and we look up, it seems way too daunting. And so when we can just take that first step and put one foot in front of the other, next thing you know, you've traveled a pretty far way. So having that clarity on the baby steps, start taking them. And remember, when we're talking about courage, that's it. I mean, that first step is typically the most courageous step. And then you start building momentum, and as you know, things start falling into place much easier. So why don't you introduce what you got in your hand?
Okay, so I was talking about first steps. I think the first step is to pick up a book like Leaders Eat Last.
Absolutely.
This is a great book by Sinek. He's got Start With Why, and I think a lot of people have read that, but Leaders Eat Last is phenomenal. Why some teams pull together and others don't. For the courageous part, though, he has a section in here called Reality, the courage to do the right thing. And that's a huge part of being courageous as a leader, is looking past what might be in front of us and what might be obstacles, the things that we're scared of, and really looking at what the right thing to do is, our core values, our principles. Man, are we challenged by those things on a daily basis. And great leaders, they know that it's the right thing to do to eat last, let others come first, and just do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, TJ. Our second book by Hess, Cage Busting Leadership. This is an educational piece. We typically tend to lean on the business side of books, although as a trade, this is what we're steeped in and we read quite a bit. But this book, hands down, has very practical stories. There's a chapter in here, Swinging with a Louisville Slugger, the right way. But even how if things are ambiguous, that shouldn't lead to you being stifled and not taking a step. And so there's just very practical ways in which to move forward, and we love it. It's filled with success stories, and make no mistake that if there's a success story, behind that success story is a courageous leader. Things don't fall into place by happenstance. Courage is what puts that into play.
It's true. The definition of leadership is influence. The challenge of leadership is always conflict. And these guys that are overcoming conflict are always cage busters. Talk about cage busters. Let's talk about Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, we've read, and I think we've even introduced to our listeners, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. This is another great book. What we love about Gary is he is courageous.
Yeah.
He emulates courage. But in this book, what he does is take questions, ask Gary V, and these questions are typically about people's fears and how they need to move forward in their lives, how to hustle better, the educational system, not for the faint of heart, though, if you're going to follow Gary, be careful, because Gary is a courageous leader and he says some courageous things. But we do recommend Ask Gary V. It is our Mac Daddy this month. Phenomenal book. It's also a nice reference book. You don't have to read it from cover to cover. You could read the question, read a section or two, get through it. Awesome, awesome book. Joe, do we have a tip?
Yeah, this month in our Courage blog post, we featured this whole idea of having a courage cohort, leaders you want to emulate. We want to take that a step further and ask you to form a literacy or a reading cohort, or what's otherwise known as a book club, although that may not attract people as you would like. But this time of year in the summer really affords us a little more time, a little more levity, and we're able to breathe a little bit. Find a group of people that inspire you, that they themselves are committed to grow, and choose to read a book together. It's eye-opening on how other people perceive words on a page and how you can challenge one another. So that's our tip. Get into it, drive hard, push to achieve your goals, and have courage.
It's great. One more thing, though. Brave Leadership.
Oh, yeah.
By Kimberly Davis. We have a signed copy. Talk about courage.
Awesome.
What an awesome book. #Brave Leadership. First person to get back to us gets a copy of Kimberly Davis's signed Brave Leadership. We'll send it right to you. Get back to us. Tell us how you're being courageous, or just tell us you want the book. That's it. #Read This series. You can find us on Twitter and also at theschoolhouse302.com.